Alrighty, so this is some of the reasoning that we chose this van and why we're using this particular setup. This is the Ford Econoline E250. It's a 1999. The great thing about this van is it has a four-wheel drive conversion kit, which is factory rated through Quigley 4x4 systems. They do 4x4 systems for emergency vehicles, government, military, all that kind of stuff. So that is what really set this thing apart. The four-wheel drive versus only being two-wheel drive, or the Chevy or GMC all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is definitely not four-wheel drive. It is not as good. You don't have the extra gear reduction with the transfer case, so you're still limited to 4 speeds or 5 speeds depending on your transmission. You do not have that lower gearing, and the traction is just not the same. There's nothing that compares to a solid front end 4x4 system that's just like a pickup truck. So some of the things that we got going on here, this van has 141,392 miles on it. These Ford vans with the 5.4 liter V8, you know, they can get 400,000 miles on them. So this thing's really just getting broke in. I think it's going to last a long time, and it's going to be able to put up with, you know, the heavy duty day-to-day work that we're going to be able to do with this. So I'm going to go ahead and read off some specifications here. Basically, we got horsepower, 255 horsepower, torque is 350, fuel economy is city 11 miles, highway 16, average combo is going to be 13 miles per gallon, which is okay. You know, it's nothing too big, nothing too bad. It's about what you're going to get out of a V8 that's fully loaded down all the time. The 6-liter Chevy or GMC motors get terrible gas mileage. They just suck fuel like crazy. So the fuel type is gas. Valves per cylinder doesn't matter. Automatic. Fuel capacity is going to be 35 gallons. Wheelbase is 138 inches. That is something to keep in mind too, because the shorter wheelbase on this actually allows you to turn a lot sooner or a lot quicker than the Chevy and GMC vans. The Chevy and GMC vans have that longer wheelbase. Does make for a little bit better ride, but it's also a terrible van to try and turn around in tight parking areas or city parking. It increases your turning circumference quite a bit. Overall length is 211 inches. Width with mirrors is 79 inches. Height, this one's a lot higher, so that doesn't matter. Curb weight is going to be 5,340 pounds. Turning radius is 46.7 feet. The standard axle ratio is 3.73, but when they do the full drive conversion, this van actually is down to 410, I think. Maximum governed weight rating 7,200 pounds. Towing rating 7,500 pounds. That's actually wrong. It actually says in the door that the maximum weight rating GVR is 8,600 pounds. Payload and base capacity 2,125 pounds. Headroom is going to be 42 inches. There's 230.1 cubic feet of space available in here. So with that out of the way, let's go check this thing out and take a look around. First thing I want to show is that we put this cage in here. That key's gonna drive me nuts. We put this cage in here, set that right there. Put this cage in here, and then we put this additional heavy duty piece of angle iron. I wanted to beef this up quite a bit. This was added, and these two were added over here. I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut these off. I just wanted to get this review out of the way. These are my everyday tool pouches. I just put a piece of steel right there. These are the most common ones that I grab from, you know, every day. Down here we got the filing cabinet, just to keep some paperwork and stuff in there. And then again we have that big huge piece of angle iron right here. This is where the subfloor met with the carpet right here. This is our 5/8 OSB board, and it's been coated with the deck liner. We got the same thing up here all the way through. So we've got lots of reinforcement and lots of extra parts and pieces to beef this thing up quite a bit. We'll go ahead and step out and check out the front of this thing. This is what I was talking about. SureTrack van. This is 4-wheel drive from Quigley Incorporated, Manchester, Pennsylvania. This is they will only put 4-wheel drive systems on a brand new van, and then Ford will actually treat that as it was almost like it was from the factory. So we got the Triton V8, we get the 5.4 liter, coil sprung, rides great. The one thing that I really did not like about the Chevy van that we had is it was always going through front end parts constantly. This is a much heavier duty setup. This is a heavy duty pickup truck style setup, so it's going to deal with the weight a lot better, and it's actually going to drive better. It rides better. Everything about this solid front axle is way better than the other Chevy setup. Over here, pretty much the same thing. Cords. Now, this is part of the customization that we've done with this van here. Go ahead and set that down right there. This right here, we got our bungee cord to go ahead and hold that open if we need to. But we have our bolt system here and our nut and bolt bin, so when this door comes open, I have everything I need at my disposal. I can grab my bag, grab my tool bag if I need this bag, grab this bag if I need this bag. Everything I need expands open right to me. As we go in here, we've got all these different boxes that are full of lock cylinders, latches, all my different parts and pieces and things like that, and built this little box around them and this strap system to keep all that in place and nice and secure for me to go ahead and use. Over here we've got Adrian steel cabinets. These Adrian steel cabinets are great. They last forever. The stickers on the back of these said that they were made in 2004, so they've lasted 10 years. I took these out of the old van and put them into this van, so they've been in use for a long time. These ones over here are a little bit older style. The ones that have the hinges that flap out, these are the older style ones. These ones up here are the newer style ones. Both of them last a long time. This one actually has the roller bearings, which is a lot nicer and supports a lot more weight, but these work just as well. Got some storage space back here for some long tools, drills, all that kind of stuff goes in there. Again, all with this deck lining. This stuff is super tough, super resistant to water, moisture, scuffing, any of that kind of stuff. You really can't hardly wear it out. So then we'll come back here. This is my extra boneyard here for lock parts and pieces, and then we have extra locks in there. The reason I have that is because I need to keep this right here completely full at all times so nothing rattles around. If you don't have it completely full, this stuff falls out of here, but when it's jammed in there nice and tight, then you don't have that issue. We don't have that problem. Hopefully the sun's not into that camera too bad. Then I got my other key machine. We'll probably have a better spot for that soon, but that's my key duplicator right there. That's just going to stay right there. And then all of my key blanks right in here. Key blanks. Nice and easy access. Lever sets all in here. Adams Wright stuff here. Deadbolts, regular knobs, and then more lever sets. Back here we have the stuff to get into vehicles, my work bag, toolbox, and HPC Blitz key machine. So I can come up here, and I'm going to try and get that camera out of the sun as much as I can. I can come in here, and I can make a key here. I can come in here and I can make a key here. Or I can go ahead and swing this open, and this is actually attached to the door, so I can make a key outside. The number one problem or irritation with having your key machine is the brass that flies off of there. It gets all over everything. So if I can cut keys outside of the van and not have that brass flying around in here, that really makes things a whole lot easier for me. Up here we got our pinning kit, we got our charger, we got a light. Go ahead and turn that on. Lots of light right in here. LAB pinning kit right there, or I mean pinning mat. And then we got our pinning tray over here. Master pins are all underneath there. Bottom pins are on top since we use those most. And then we got our key chart right behind there. Hand cleaner, lock lubricant, some screws, things like that. Come over here and got our vise. I'm going to mount that down. This has been epoxied down, so this is my battery charger. That stays right there. That turns right on like that, and you can see green light. Always got battery ready to go. And I can plug my key machine into here at pretty much any time. So over here we just got our basic tools, locksmith tools, all nice and organized. Need still adding things as we go here, but batteries in there. So this will actually lock these down. This is the newer style of cabinets here, and then this is the older style here. So then we have this that we can pull that bungee loose. Still need to fill some of this stuff up, but nice and easy, convenient. Everything's right close to me. Everything's labeled, just so I can see exactly. Until I get used to my new setup, I'll have an idea of where things are. And we can go ahead and lock that up. And then we got over here, everything nice and labeled. ASA, pins and locks, pinning kit, Medico, master pin kit, LAB, IC core pin kit. And safe deposit key parts. You can see these older drawers are a little bit more difficult. Wayne with Tri County Locksmith here, and we're going to be doing how to set up a work van. What I've got here is a full-size van, and this is going to be a ground-up build. The problem with when you step into a van is it's like driving a tin can, basically. It's very loud, hollow, and has voids in it, and pretty much all of your anytime you're going to drive down a road where there's going to be rocks, or here they salt the roads and put gravel on the roads a lot, and it is miserable to drive in because you have winter tires that grab those little rocks and pick them up, and it just echoes throughout this whole thing. Or if you have all your tools back here and you have one tiny little thing squeaking or moving or rattling, it echoes severely throughout the whole thing. So this is where I spend all my time. 90% of the time I'm either in the chair driving or back here rekeying or working on something. This is my office. So this video is going to be how to deaden the noise in here and silence this up a little bit. It's going to be a little difficult to do, but the main reason there's so much noise is because there's nothing to stop the flow of sound. Each one of these cross beams here, there's ridges in there to make the body rigid enough to be able to withstand the twisting and moving of the vehicle, but it creates hollow spots. So what we're going to do with this plywood, our OSB board, and some great stuff expanding foam is we're going to fill all that stuff in with some expanding foam, all of these open voids, and then we're going to actually put some wood up against here and fill that space up in between the two. What that's going to do is it's going to deaden the sound, and it's going to insulate the vehicle. On a hot day, this is a very dark vehicle, it gets extremely hot in here. On a very, very cold day, it gets extremely cold in here. Everything is metal. It's just like being in a giant refrigerator at night. So what this is going to do is it's going to insulate, give a little bit of room and a little bit of space, a little bit of airspace in between the outside cold and the inside. So it's going to keep it nice and warm in here without having to run the vehicle or run the heaters and things like that. The only heater vents are way up front. They don't get all the way to the back. So when you're back here doing rekeying or doing whatever it is I'm doing, it gets extremely cold. Or vice versa, in the dead of summer, extremely hot. So that's what this is going to be designed to do. If you're normally running a pickup truck or do your work in a pickup truck, it's 100% different, because the door would be here, the seats are up there, and all this is open. You never hear anything back here. As soon as you step into a van, it's just like driving a canister down the road. And every tiny bump, every tiny little thing is amplified and magnified by this giant void back here. So we're going to do this just like they would build a house. You're going to have the outside skin. We're going to have an air gap for insulation and sound deadening. And the other thing that this is going to do too is this is going to give me a nice wood frame to go ahead and mount things on. So now, instead of having to drill through metal or weld something on there to be able to attach things, or up here I can't even do that, because then it'd be directly outside. You can't put a screw directly through your vehicle. It would look ridiculous and absurd. So that's what this is going to do. It's going to give me a really nice usable space to be able to go ahead and mount things and pull things out and change my mounting around. Once you mount a vehicle up, it's very, very hard to change it because everything is steel. So this is going to offer lots of options, sound deadening, insulation. It's going to make this a really nice workplace. So I'm going to do a little bit of a how-to video on how we do this here. Some of the other voids that I'm talking about is we can see how much room and how much of a void that is. Same thing back here. Big, huge voids all over this thing. That this bottom part gives it structural integrity, but it creates its own set of problems. It creates a big hollow void that creates a bunch of noise. Right here we got a hole that we can see the outside in. We're going to fill all that stuff up and lay this board down in here, and then we're going to fill up that gap with some foam, and it's going to create a completely different environment here. So that's the plan, and hang out and take a look with me. Wayne here, and we're going to do a little midpoint check-in on this van build. Got all the interior lined. Everything's lined with this 5/8 OSB board. This serves two purposes. It cuts down on the sound and the sound rattling and the echo effect that a van has. I mean, driving a van is really just like driving a tin can down the road. Very, very hollow sounding. So you could definitely hear now that has silenced quite a bit of that noise up. Also, in between here and here, we've used that expanding foam for the top, and then to fill in the main part, it would have taken 1,000,000 cans of that expanding foam to fill in between here and the outside panel. Let me just give you an idea about how thick this is. So we've got our inside panels here, and we've got our outside here. In between here, I've actually got some green peanuts, and basically it's a packing peanuts, and they're made out of a natural material. So as this van gets hot, it's not made out of a petroleum-based styrofoam, so it's not going to come up with any weird gases or smells or anything funky like that. You got to watch that stuff. Sometimes you don't know what's actually in the foam that you're going to be putting in there, and this is going to get hot and compact and expand and contract and do all kinds of things. So that's an idea of where we're at right now. We're going to get some corner pieces to cover that up and make it look nice. Again, heavy duty wood. This also, it actually serves three purposes: sound deadening, heat insulation, cold insulation, insulation from the outside temperature, the sound, and it's nice to be able to just take some wood screws and screw stuff to this instead of having to weld brackets or try and find mounting points in the van here, so you're not going directly through all the way to the outside. So I can mount anything anywhere in here pretty much. That's where we're at right now. We'll go ahead and give you a little view of this side of the van right here. We got our Adrian steel drawers going in, workbenches going in over there. And right now, this is one of the big things that I want to focus on, is the cage for this. This is the Adrian steel cage. You can see we've got it mounted and anchored here and here and here. One of my big things is the safety of these cages. This, it looks like to me that it's pretty light gauge steel. So what I'm doing here is adding these extra brackets and basically set that up there. You can see how much thicker these are compared to what they give you. I'll go ahead and give you a little comparison right here. I've added these two right here, and you can see the thickness difference between that and these are the ones that they give you. This doesn't seem that, I mean, that's bending and flexing. I can't bend and flex that one. So all this really came with was here, here, and here originally. So I'm going to be adding, I added these two. I'm going to add a couple more here, here, and possibly down to the floor there. And then I'm also going to be reinforcing it with some heavy duty angle iron. This is my, I'm going to be trying to reinforce this to almost like a roll cage right in here. I'm going to have a big beefy piece of angle iron put up here like so, and then I'm going to start angling it off and then come around and basically kind of build like an octagon shape on the other side of this. The door will still be fully functional, but I think that's going to add, this steel here is nice and thick, it's going to add a whole lot of strength and rigidity to this, because I know how much weight is back here, and if you wreck this van at 75 miles an hour, everything is going to be coming right for me. So this is my way to really beef this up and keep safety and security in mind while going down the road. So this is pretty much where we're at right now, a little mid stopping point, and we'll go from there. We still got our, by the end of this, the door will still work as well. I'd also like to get some more insulation in here and almost kind of block this off. We'll leave this clear so we can see out the back, and this one here, but the rest of this we'll probably put some of this wood in and help deaden that sound a little more, have almost a pickup truck ride up front and not have to hear all this stuff rattling around and banging around back here. So we'll see you in a little bit. These are going to be our number 14 2-inch lag screws here. That's going to go in just like that, and this is what we're going to use at all four corners. We'll probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all together. Let's see here. So you can hear when it goes down into the frame, and it actually drills and taps itself into that. There we go. Do a couple more and we'll be good to go. Alright, so let's check out what we did here. We got this big, heavy duty, thick piece of angle iron right here. This is going to be my base for the bottom. Got another one up here for the top. That's going to be my base for the top. Big lag bolts going all the way up. Like this here, you can see they go into the frame. We got 1, 2, 3, and there's one down there, 4 extra heavy duty L brackets. Those are how I am reinforcing this particular back plate. Eventually I'm going to have some angle iron that does come from here directly up to here, as kind of, because this is the weakest point. If anything comes crashing up here, this is where I'm sitting, that's where it's going to be, and it's going to push this in and crush this. So that's what I'm trying to build up right in here, and this is the way I'm doing it, as well as reinforcing the edge. Got a little update going on here. We'll just kind of go around. It's getting a little dark. Got our power inverters mounted. They're not hooked up yet, but they're in there. Got our pinning tray and stuff right here, so that doesn't go anywhere, so you don't accidentally leave it and it goes flying. It just stays right in there. These were in there. Those were in there earlier. Got a strap that runs up through there. That's on my latches and cabinet locks, stuff like that, that's in all those boxes over there. What's new over here is our shelf. This is our inventory. 26D finish or silver finish, knobs, deadbolts, antique brass, or A-finish, knobs, deadbolts. We got quick set over on this side, SC on this side, KWSC, KWSC. We got our levers over here, and we got some levers on the bottom. Levers take up a lot of room, so that's about the only thing I can do with them. Got some ASA high security stuff in there. ASA stuff there, Adams Wright latches, a couple padlocks. That's pretty much it for the inventory. You can see just how much this whole shelf really holds up. It holds a lot of weight. So I'm really impressed with the Adrian steel. It does seem to hold up pretty well. Got my emergency basket down there, tow rope, jumper cables, straps, that kind of stuff. Tool bag here, and we're just starting to get things situated, get everything bolted down, and got a couple more bags of stuff to put in here, and that's about it. My Milwaukee charger down here, car and gate entry tools, long tools. There's a lot of room down in here to go ahead and see if we can get some light in there. Get those long screwdrivers and long pins and long things for safes and whatnot. Go right in there, and that's what it's starting to look like. So I don't know how much the camera's catching, but we're getting there. This was all done in about, well, when we started the video earlier today, so this is about 1 day. This is probably 3 days between all of the very beginning with the plywood and whatnot, and getting everything painted. One of the longest things that happened was waiting for the paint to dry before we could actually get in, because this paint takes forever to dry because it's so thick. So it's kind of hard to do a spot, paint it, and then move stuff into it, and then do a spot, paint it, move stuff into it. But it's all working out. So a couple more, a little bit longer, and this thing will be ready to rock and roll. It's probably going to take another good solid day to actually get everything organized in my drawers and everything. But other than that, that's what it's looking like. So thanks for watching. Alright, we're going to come out here and take a look at our heating system for the van. I want to show you here. This is the van after snow. This is another car after snow. There's the other van after snow. Pretty cold this morning, probably about 20 degrees or so. But basically we plug this in here like so, and that plug-in goes to, you can see the windshield's nice. This thing's pretty much ready to drive right now, instead of having to scrape and scrape all this ice and stuff off of here to get ready to go. So come over here, and inside we have our oil radiant heater, and it keeps it just warm enough in here with the insulation and everything to where we can start out and start the day. Everything, it's probably right about 40 degrees or so in here right now, and the insulation keeps the heat in, keeps the windows warm, so we don't have to chip off the frost and do all that stuff. So this is my little heater system that I designed and put on this to keep everything nice and warm and ready to go. So if you need to leave at 2 in the morning or 6 in the morning or whatever, your vehicle is pretty much ready to go. Start the motor, let it warm up for about 5 minutes, and you're ready to rock and roll for the day. The metal, all the tools are nice and warm in here. You're not dealing with the super cold tools. You can touch all this stuff, it's nice and warm. So that's why we do that. So that's a good little trick for anybody that wants to that works in cold conditions, that wants to make sure that they have a nice, and this isn't, this is on its maximum setting, but it's not too hot. It's not going to melt anything. So thanks for watching. Alright, this is a Peak Performance rear view mirror backup camera. Having a larger work vehicle like this, it's going to be a really good idea to have something like this. Make sure you don't have any kids or anything behind you, especially on a work vehicle where you're going to have labels and phone numbers and everything. That's just asking for a lawsuit or something like that. So we'll just kind of go through this and film how we put this together and see if it's going to work. Okay, so after just kind of stumbling through this here, it looks like this is going to be the remote receiver And this is going to have to plug into the actual camera, which is going to be here. It says to mount this on your license plate, but I know that's going to be a terrible idea because the snow that we have here, whenever you drive in the snow, it covers your back window completely and anything back there, license plate, all that stuff. So that's going to be 100% useless. Plus there's going to be a lot of aggregate, so wiping that clean all the time would scratch the lens. So I'm actually going to try and mount this inside the vehicle, inside the window, and then have the camera staring out. That way we can wipe the window, we're not going to scratch the lens, and it's going to protect the camera, keep it out of the weather. So that's going to be the main plan. So that's going to plug right into, the camera's going to plug into the wireless receiver, and then the wireless receiver is going to have power, which is this other cord right here that's going to have that connection. That's going to plug right into there, just like so, and then that's what's going to power this unit and make it operational. The camera itself, or I mean the mirror itself, has its own power supply, and that's going to go into a 12-volt outlet up here, up front right here. The rest of this stuff is just mounting stuff, but like I said, I'm not going to use that anyway. They give you a couple splicer connectors. I really don't like these kind of power connectors. These ones where you just tap in, you just push and crimp. I'm not really a fan of those, so we probably won't use those. A couple mounting bolts and stuff, like I said, we'll probably just mount it differently. Anyway, so we'll get it rigged up and see. Hey guys, it's the end of the video. You know, help me out and help me help you out. Right below the description box right here is a red subscribe button. Subscribe to me and then you're going to get the latest and greatest information that I put out. Sometimes it applies to you, sometimes it doesn't. You know, it's just going to at least let you know that we're putting out new and current information. And then right over here is a thumbs up button. Give me a thumbs up. Help this video rank higher in the searches for the search terms that you're using, and let other people be able to see this. You know, that's the best way you can help. Interact. Leave a comment. I will get back with you if I can and try and help you answer your questions. But the more you interact and post this to Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and spread this through the social media, the more that allows me to be able to help do more videos. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And subscribe, share, and like. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.